good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for your participation in the hearing today. I just walked in and wasn't able to listen to your opening statements in real time. We have received your testimony that you submitted prior to, so appreciate the work you do, your expertise that you're sharing with us, and for your participation here today. Now, and maybe I'm just speaking for myself, but I think I speak for a lot of us when I say we're here today, because in just over the last 7 weeks, less than 2 months, the Trump administration has decided to attack the historic funding for communities across the country that we've been able to fight for and approve in the last couple of sessions of Congress. And when I say we, I'm not just talking Democrats. It's bipartisan funding that is intended to keep kids safe on their way to school, on the way home from school, and to protect the clean air that we breathe, and create good-paying jobs along the way. Right? Economic growth and environmental protection are not mutually exclusive. We can and must do both. But because Donald Trump is laser-focused on delivering more tax breaks for billionaires, working families are in the position of having to pay the price if they have their way. This is not how government is supposed to function, at least not the way I was taught or why I do this job. So today we're shining this light on the abuse of power in our effort to hold this administration accountable. Now, the first topic I want to bring up, I think, is near and dear to most, if not all of us. Through the Inflation Reduction Act, we invested in domestic manufacturing to promote sustainable transportation and boosted our global competitiveness. Of course, this administration now trying to undermine those efforts by illegally terminating funding from the EPA's Greenhouse Gas Reduction Fund. Climate United and Ford Mobility plan to utilize $250 million from a GGRF award to purchase 500 zero-emission drayage trucks to serve the San Pedro-based ports complex, one of the significant projects with tangible benefits that we've been eagerly awaiting. This investment alone would more than double the number of zero-emission trucks currently serving the ports and would be the largest purchase of American-made electric trucks in history. My question is for you, Mr. Oronayu. 500 zero-emission trucks is quite a lot of trucks. What kind of market signal would simply that investment alone send?
Thank you, Senator Padilla. The strategy behind the trucks program is not solely to purchase 500 trucks. It's also to establish a market signal around the residual value of trucks. So if you are an investor investing in trucks, or somebody who's buying a truck, you want to know what the value of that truck will be after 3, 4, 5 years after you've used it, so that you can sell that on. And the residual value is also crucially important for investors, whether that's a lessor or somebody who's providing a loan for that truck, so they know what the value of that truck will be. So we intend to increase the scale and transform the market around electric trucks nationwide, not just in the ports of LA and Long Beach, by purchasing, as you mentioned, 500 Class 8 electric trucks, and also by establishing that residual value so that in future years, private finance can come in and expand that market even further beyond just the ports of Long Beach and Los Angeles.
Yeah, I appreciate you talking not just about the primary market and its significance, but the value of the secondary market that becomes created. Now, just as a follow-up, we know that China is aggressively subsidizing infrastructure, battery production, and zero-emission vehicles. How does the termination that this administration has called for impact our global competitiveness, particularly against China?
Well, just a couple months ago, a number of the equipment manufacturers of electric trucks announced a new battery factory, Amplify Cells, in Marshall County, Mississippi, which would be among the largest battery manufacturers for these kinds of heavy-duty trucks in the U.S. I think it might be one of the only heavy-duty battery manufacturers in the U.S. Right now, because our funds are frozen, we're unable to make these purchase orders for these trucks, which has downstream effects on the supply chain, which would ultimately put some of these battery manufacturers and truck manufacturers in a tight place when it comes to competitiveness and global competitiveness. If we're not there to provide this financing, this industry will not thrive. Thank you.
Thank you. Let me just raise just one more topic before recognizing Senator Merkley, who's just arrived. Also, welcome Senator Markey, champion on many of these issues for many years as well. Now, one of the programs from the bipartisan infrastructure law that I'm particularly proud of is the Clean School Bus Program, which was based on the Clean Commute for Kids Act that I introduced along with Senator Warnock. The program has supported 8,500 clean school bus projects in 1,200 districts across the country, helping improve air quality for our kids, fueling domestic manufacturing, and creating good-paying jobs. However, as we've heard today, the administration has thrown the program into disarray by freezing the program's rebates. Now, this chaos is having real consequences, yes, for school districts, yes, for manufacturers, yes, for small businesses, but also for the kids who rely on that cleaner school bus to arrive at school and get home at the end of the day without suffering the health impacts that diesel school buses create. Mr. Edgerly, thank you for being here. During your time leading Thomas-built buses, I understand you oversaw the rollout of the company's all-electric school bus fleet. How is this funding uncertainty impacting the bottom line for manufacturers, and what messages does it send to other manufacturers who may be looking to get into this line of business?
I think my colleague to the left hit on it when he was talking about the battery manufacturing. Being part of a very big corporation, there are only set funds that can be spent on capital in testing and development. And when we started back in 2015, we were all in. It was a perfect use case for a school bus, and I was granted by my bosses unbridled freedom to spend what I needed for an electric school bus. And we did. And we built that momentum, and we spent millions and millions of dollars of testing and reliability growth and investing in manufacturing places and investing in battery supply. Now my colleagues at the place I used to work, who I'm still do business with on an everyday basis, are taking pause and questioning where their future investments should be. So it just causes undue pause in the market of investment and perhaps pull back. He talked about the scale of 500 buses and what it can do to manufacturing jobs and start to drive down the price of some initially very expensive technology. Well, that stops all that, and it breaks all the momentum that we've built over the last 5 years.
And I think important for the record here, you probably have much better data and insight than I do, but some of the attacks I've heard on this program specifically is, oh, it must be sort of a coastal program for coastal communities, or blue states versus red states, or urban districts versus rural districts. What kind of communities have primarily benefited from this so far?
All of them. And Virginia itself, that's where we do business, it has red states and blue states. And if we introduce electric school bus to the red state, I've heard stories of mechanics, greasy guys that work on the product saying, I don't want this thing I don't want it in my area. I used to work in a coal mine. There's a lot of attitude that comes with it, and there's a lot of motion. Same guy 6 months later operating the bus in central Nelson County, greenest place in Virginia, says, I can't complain. The thing just runs all day. So we have to manage not only the product, but people's mindset when it comes to the product. And we found that the more positive mindset, the quicker and the healthier adoption and the faster environmental impacts. And then signing up again for the next round of funding because they like it.
They tend to perform better, easier on not just operations, but maintenance, I imagine?
It is far less moving parts.
And saving money over time. Love it. Thank you again for being here. I'll turn it over to Senator Merkley.